Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to explore the source material you need to know and really pull out the clearest paths to understanding it.
That's the goal.
Today, we're digging into a philosophy that's, well, it's shaped ideas about achievement for a long time now. It's like a secret formula, they say.
Yeah, and it comes from this huge study, decades long, looking into how the world's most successful people, mostly wealthy men back then, actually operated.
It was Andrew Carnegie who kicked it off, wasn't it? He wanted this formula distilled from the lives of, what, over 500 incredibly rich individuals.
That's right, over 500. And it was a massive undertaking, a 25-year project. Carnegie apparently put up, or at least inspired the initial funding, about $100,000, which was just an enormous sum at the time.
Wow. Okay, and here's something really important for you listening right now. The source material makes a big point that this exact research, it can never be done again. Because more than half of those 500 people, the ones who gave all the information, they've passed away since the research was completed. So it's kind of a unique snapshot, a time capsule of strategies from these high achievers.
Absolutely. And our mission today is to give you the SS, let's say, the shortest reliable guide to achievement based on this work. The original calls it the 13 Steps to Riches.
13 steps, okay.
But we're going to focus on 3 core pillars.
Yeah.
This idea of intense desire, unwavering persistence, and these collaborative groups called masterminds.
Okay, desire, persistence, masterminds.
Yeah. The whole philosophy claims to tell you not just what you need to do, but exactly how to do it. And it all hinges on, well, a really powerful starting point, which is a burning desire. Has to be burning. And for something definite, not vague.
Right, that focus on definite desire. It strikes me because it immediately throws out just, wishing for things.
Exactly. Riches don't just show up because you hope for them, according to this.
Yeah.
They respond to definite plans. And those plans need to be fueled by definite desires.
So weak desire, weak results. Makes sense. But how do you actually do that? How do you take this feeling, this desire, and turn it into, say, actual money?
Well, the sources get surprisingly practical here. They lay out 6 very specific steps, almost like a recipe for your subconscious mind.
Okay, like an instruction manual?
Pretty much. Designed to force you to take that fuzzy wish and, nail it down, make it concrete.
So what's step 1?
First, you have to fix the exact amount of money you want. No, I want to be rich. You need a number, a specific figure.
That alone is a hurdle for many, I think. Getting specific?
It is. Then, step 2 is maybe the ethical core of it. Determine exactly what you intend to give in return.
So no free lunch.
Definitely not. The philosophy insists there's no something for nothing in real achievement. It's all about exchange. Value for value.
I like that. It grounds the desire in reality, in contribution. Okay,
Yeah.
So you've got the amount, you know what service you'll provide. What's next?
Third, set a definite date. A deadline for when you intend to have that money.
Creates urgency.
Right. Fourth, create a definite plan to get it. And this is crucial. Start at once, immediately, even if the plan isn't perfect yet.
Begin anyway. Don't wait for perfection.
Exactly. Action is key. Then steps 5 and 6 kind of lock it all in. Step 5, write it all down. A clear, concise statement. The amount, the date, the service you'll give, the plan. Get it on paper.
Makes it real, tangible.
Yes. And step 6 is where the psychology really kicks in. You read that written statement aloud, twice a day.
When?
Once just after you wake up and once just before you go to sleep. And while you're reading it, you have to see, feel, and believe that you already have the money.
The visualization and belief part. Programming the subconscious.
That's the idea. It's meant to keep that desire burning bright, to make the outcome feel inevitable in your mind, to eliminate doubt.
That idea of total commitment, of eliminating doubt and any possibility of retreat. It reminds me of that story, the one about the warrior.
Oh yeah, burning the ships. Classic example.
Tell us that one.
Well, this warrior, he sails his army to enemy territory. They disembark, and then he gives the order, burn the ships they arrived on.
No way back.
None whatsoever. It was literally, we win or we perish right here. That state of mind, that burning desire to win, is what the source says is absolutely necessary. It cuts off all escape routes, makes you fully commit.
That really shows how serious this philosophy is about commitment, doesn't it? But, that initial fire, burning the ships, that's one thing. What about day 90, day 180? When things get tough, the plan hits snag, the excitement fades.
Yes, that's where the second pillar comes in. Persistence.
The sticking power.
Exactly. Persistence is presented as the non-negotiable ingredient. It's what keeps you going when that initial desire maybe flickers a bit, and the story they use to illustrate the cost of lacking persistence. It's brutal.
The R.U. Darby story. The gold mine.
That's the one. He was drilling for gold, right? Put in a lot of effort, then he just stopped. Quit.
And the gold was...
Just 3 feet further down. 3 feet.
Oh, that's painful. He gave up right before the breakthrough?
He did. Sold all his equipment for pennies on the dollar to a local junk man. Packed up, went home. Total defeat.
And the junk man.
Well, the junk man wasn't actually junk man, not really. He was smart enough to think, maybe I should get an expert opinion before I give up. He called in a mining engineer.
Smart move.
Very. The engineer checked the geology, saw there was a fault line, figured out where the vein likely continued, and told him to drill just a little bit further.
3 feet further.
Bingo! Struck one of the richest gold veins discovered. The junk man made millions.
Well, Darby went home broke.
Yeah.
That's a tough lesson.
It's a gut punch, for sure. But the key takeaway for Darby, interestingly, wasn't just regret. He learned something profound from it.
Which was?
He realized that desire, if it's strong enough and backed by persistence, can be transmuted into its physical equivalent, into gold or money or whatever. He took that lesson.
And applied it elsewhere.
Yes. He went into the life insurance business and apparently became incredibly successful, recouping his lost fortune many times over, precisely because he understood persistence.
And there was another story about him learning persistence. Right. Something much simpler. The 50-cent lesson.
Yeah, that's a great little anecdote. He saw this happen with his uncle, who was known to be pretty difficult.
Okay.
This small child, a young black kid, came up to the uncle at his old mill asking for 50 cents. The uncle just blew up, told him to get lost, threatened him, everything.
But the child
didn't flinch, didn't argue or cry, just stood there, quietly but firmly holding his ground, refused to accept no.
Wow. Just pure, unwavering persistence.
Exactly. It had this strange, irresistible power. Eventually, the uncle just gave in, paid the 50 cents probably just to make the kid leave.
And Darby saw that.
He saw it, and he realized later, looking back at his own hugely successful insurance career, that most of his big sales, the really significant ones, were made after the prospect had initially said no.
So persistence wasn't just about enduring. It was about pushing through the no.
Precisely. It's the sustained effort that builds faith, both in yourself and potentially in the person you're trying to persuade. The source calls it the only known antidote to failure, or at least to temporary defeat.
It mentions Henry Ford, too, doesn't it? In relation to persistence.
Yes, another prime example. His engineers kept telling him that a specific engine design he wanted was impossible, couldn't be done.
And Ford's reaction?
He basically said, I don't care, go back and do it. I want it, and I'll have it.
He just wouldn't take a no for an answer from reality itself.
Pretty much. They worked for months. Nothing. More months. Still nothing. But Ford just kept pushing, kept demanding it, and eventually they found the way. The impossible became possible.
So the lesson is that persistence isn't just stubbornness. It's a habit you cultivate. It turns setbacks into stepping stones.
Exactly. And if you feel your persistence waning, the advice is direct. Strengthen your desire until it becomes a burning obsession again. Fan those flames.
Okay, so we have desire as the starting engine. Persistence is the fuel that keeps it going. What about actually generating the power needed for big achievements? This leads to the third pillar, right?
Yes, power through organized knowledge, and specifically the mastermind. But first, the philosophy makes a really interesting, maybe even controversial, point about knowledge itself.
What's that?
It distinguishes between general knowledge and specialized knowledge. And it says that general knowledge, the kind many academics or university professors have, is actually of little use in accumulating wealth.
Full on. That sounds counterintuitive, especially today. Isn't knowledge power?
See, that's the catch. The source says knowledge is only potential power. It doesn't become actual usable power until it's organized and directed intelligently through practical plans towards a definite end.
So just knowing stuff isn't enough. You have to organize it and apply it with a clear goal.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And here's the kicker. The person directing that power doesn't even need to possess all the specialized knowledge themselves.
Which brings us back to Carnegie. The guy who inspired the whole thing. He wasn't a steel expert, was he?
Not technically, no. He admitted he knew very little about the actual process of making steel, but he knew how to acquire and organize the knowledge he needed.
How?
Through his mastermind group. He surrounded himself with experts, maybe 50 or so key people, who had all the specialized knowledge required for the steel business. They were his brain trust.
Okay, so let's define that term clearly for everyone listening.
Yeah.
What is a mastermind, according to this philosophy?
The definition given is coordination of knowledge and effort in a spirit of harmony between two or more people for the attainment of a definite purpose.
Coordination, harmony, definite purpose. Key elements.
Right. And it has two aspects. First, the economic feature, which is pretty straightforward. You surround yourself with people, advisors, experts, partners who can provide the knowledge and support you lack. And importantly, they do it wholeheartedly in sync with your goal.
Makes sense. Filling the gaps in your own knowledge and skill set.
Exactly. But then there's the psychic feature, which is, well, it's more abstract, more intriguing.
Go on.
It suggests that when multiple minds work together in true harmony on a shared goal, something extra is created. An increased energy, almost like a collective intelligence, becomes available to everyone in the group.
So it's like 1 + 1 = 3 or even more. A synergy effect.
That's a good way to put it. The idea is this harmonious group mind can tap into greater insights, maybe even what the source calls infinite intelligence. It generates breakthrough ideas that individuals might not reach alone.
Okay, that's a big concept. Is there a concrete example of this mastermind principle leading to massive success?
Oh, absolutely. The creation of U.S. Steel is presented as a prime example. It involves Andrew Carnegie, J.P. Morgan, and a key figure named Charles M. Schwab.
Schwab. What was his role?
Schwab was working for Carnegie. He had a massive idea for consolidating the steel industry, creating huge efficiencies through specialization. He formulated a detailed plan.
An idea and a plan. Sounds familiar.
Right. He then had the chance to present this idea, this vision, to the ultimate financier, J.P. Morgan, in a now famous speech he gave at a dinner in 1900.
And Morgan?
Morgan was apparently captivated, not just by the plan itself, but by the absolute faith and clarity with which Schwab presented it. It wasn't just numbers, it was a compelling vision.
So the idea plus the belief behind it.
That combination was powerful. It led to a series of maneuvers that resulted in the formation of the giant U.S. Steel Corporation. And Schwab's intangible contribution, his idea, delivered with conviction, was valued, in terms of the overall deal structure and his own benefit, at something like $600 million.
Wow. An idea marketed for $600 million. That really drives home the point about thoughts being things, about transmuting ideas into cash.
It really does. And there's another great story about that, Dr. Frank Gonzalez.
What did he do?
He was a preacher with a burning desire to start a new kind of college, one where students would learn by doing, practical education. But he needed money, a lot of money. $1 million.
A huge sum back then. What was his plan?
He didn't just wish for it. He formulated a definite plan. He prepared, apparently for 2 years, a very specific sermon detailing his vision. The title was Provocative. What I would do if I had $1 million.
Okay, laying it all out there.
Exactly. He announced he would preach this sermon on a particular Sunday. And in the audience that day happened to be Philip D. Armour, the meatpacking magnate. Armour was so impressed by the clarity of the plan, the vision, and the obvious burning desire behind it, that after the sermon, he reportedly walked up to Gonzalez and said something like, "I believe you do exactly what you said. Here's the $1 million.
Just like that.
Just like that. And that funding established the Armour Institute of Technology, now part of the Illinois Institute of Technology, all from an idea backed by desire and a definite plan.
Incredible stories. They really underline that big fortunes often start with selling personal services effectively, or even more powerfully, selling well-developed ideas.
And doing that effectively, the source stresses, requires knowing yourself. Rigorous self-analysis. Understanding your strengths, weaknesses, and what unique value you can offer.
It all seems to come back to the power of thought, doesn't it?
Absolutely. The central message is hammered home again and again. There are no limitations to the mind except those we acknowledge.
And flowing from that, both poverty and riches are the offspring of thought.
That's the core belief. Your thinking creates your reality.
So if thought is that powerful, what's the biggest obstacle? What corrupts or blocks that constructive thought process?
The source identifies 6 basic fears: fear of poverty, fear of criticism, fear of ill health, fear of loss of love, fear of old age, and fear of death.
6 big ones. Does it single any out?
Yes. It labels the fear of poverty as the most destructive of the 6.
Why poverty specifically?
Because, the thinking goes, it paralyzes your ability to reason clearly. It destroys imagination, kills your self-reliance, undermines persistence, and crucially, it encourages procrastination, the enemy of taking action on your definite plan.
So overcoming that fear, mastering all these fears really, is essential for success.
Absolutely. You need to gain control over your own mind, your own thoughts.
And the book points to Henry Ford again as the ultimate example of this.
It does.